Hey, Chad Peterman here, your host of the Can't Stop the Growth podcast, a show that advances the home services industry and beyond. In this exclusive series, I've joined forces with Camp Digital to bring you powerful learnings that advance you and your business in the realm of all things marketing. Together, we bring content that empowers you to build a positive, healthy workplace for you, your people, and your bottom line. So let me officially pass the mic to Camp Digital for today's episode, chock full of insights that you can take and apply to your growth. Now listen and grow.
Welcome to Around the Campfire. I'm Katie Donovan, CEO of Camp Digital, and I'm excited to share conversations with real home service business owners and executives. Some of my favorite people who I think are the industry's top leaders, innovators, and trailblazers. Each episode, we dive into stories behind successful home services businesses, the wins, the challenges, and everything in between. Our goal, to share real stories from real people. So grab a seat around the campfire and let's get started. I am so excited to be joined for a really special edition of Around the Campfire today. Today we're going a little bit off topic that we normally do, but I'm really, really proud to be joined by two people who I've met this year and over the last 365 days who have really changed and impacted my life. So I'm very excited to be sharing the conversation with them today. First, we have Anne Hill. Anne is the president of African Children Today, and Richard Mutaawe. Richard is the program director on site for African Children Today. Thank you guys both so much for joining me today. Let's jump right into it because I know there's so much to share. Tell me a little bit about your background, Anne. We'll start with you. How did you get started? Why schools in Uganda? How did this all happen?
So I was a corporate attorney for many years and decided it was time to get out of the rat race and making money for a lot of people and really give back. And so I started working with World Vision and then switched to African Children Today, which I started on the United States side about 20 years ago.
And World Vision is a big one. World Vision, I've heard of that before.
World Vision is a huge organization. They go in and build infrastructure into a community that's in poverty and then move on to work in a different community. But when they left the community of Rakai in Uganda, they didn't really take into account AIDS. They weren't flexible enough as a big organization to take into account AIDS. And so the whole community really imploded. The schools, the roof blew off the school. There was nobody to fix it. About 72% of the kids dropped out of school, and it's because in Rakai was where the first case of AIDS in the world was diagnosed in 1982. So it's still, Katie, you've seen it personally, really hard hit by AIDS, and the income-producing generation is just gone. And that's why and Richard can certainly tell you his story, when they went back to help those kids that were in the same position they called me, and I started African Children Today as a nonprofit here in the United States to support them.
So you were in the rat race, corporate attorney. You were deciding you wanted to reach out, did World Vision, and then just saw this kind of gap and said, I need to fill the gap.
Yes, I need to step in and support Richard and his crew in Uganda. Just raise some money and support them in their programming so that they could help the kids, the women and the children who are really struggling.
No wonder why we get along so well. That's why we did camp. Same thing. We saw a gap that needed to be filled and built the company. So same kind of thing.
Absolutely.
How about you, Richard? I know yours is a little bit more colorful tale, I think.
I want to be as short as possible. And it's so good to be here and meet the people that I'm meeting this time. My name is Richard, born and grew up in Uganda. And the interesting part is we work in Rakai district where I was actually born. In the early 1980s, when Anne explained about HIV/AIDS, we were the kids that were left behind when HIV/AIDS swept the area and killed our parents. So organizations came in. I was under World Vision and rather Compassion International, and my colleague was in World Vision. Long story short, because of the support of those organizations, we managed to come through university. And right at the moment when World Vision was leaving the area, I had completed my education as a teacher. I was in Kampala, a capital city, teaching and earning, and it was quick to celebrate what I had gone through. But because we kept going back to Rakai, and the timing was hard that World Vision had left, now people who had given us their mangoes, their jackfruit to make us survive ran back to us who say, now that World Vision has gone, what should we do? How can you help us? And we couldn't say anything. But deep in, we believed that with education, we had become who we were. And so we decided to do a simple thing: go out, tell the story, let the people out there that care to listen, that when help to another child is well handled, can be utilized, and these kids can come back and be impactful. So we feel it's a great opportunity coming back to the area where we struggled to grow up, and yet now are able to care for the people. So when we were bombarded by people, I must say, we had no one to run to except Miss Ann Hill, who was over in the United States, and we explained to her about everything that was going on. And I'm so happy that she was quick to say she would also pick up and begin telling the story. And this is how we have grown this far.
He's modest, isn't he, Ian?
Very modest. Very modest. They've accomplished so much in Uganda, from a school, a primary school, elementary school for 1,500 kids, a high school for 1,000 kids, really focusing on small businesses, because that empowers women to support their families, their communities. And so they've really been intentional about starting a welding shop and a carpentry shop and a milling operation, so that the people there are empowered to take care of themselves.
I mentioned why is when we're growing up, my colleague and I are two boys that made it. But I'll tell you that there were other girls in the organizations that we went through, and most of them didn't make it. So we've been very intentional that we come to set ourselves up to give both girls and boys opportunities. But also knowing that not every child is going to go to university. There are those that are going to go out and have those trades. And today, some of the happiest boys that we have are those that just couldn't go to school because they didn't have a background, but chose to go and learn welding. Mattia is one of our boys. He's doing all the windows and all doors for our schools that we are building. Brian, we found him when he was taking care of his brothers at 12, tried to take him through school. He failed, but he chose to go and learn how to lay tiles in houses. And he's one of the guys that are now back laying tiles in houses. So we've been very intentional about what we are doing. We think every child has an opportunity, whether you go through formal school or go and learn these traits. And they've come out to be so specific, so important for many boys and girls.
Yeah, it's amazing. I got a chance to physically see it. And the first words I said that night, I think to both of you, was I said, you're running a city. You're not running a school. I mean, it's amazing what you have built out there and the level by which you built it. And for anyone who missed it, because a lot of people listening to this have small businesses, mid-sized businesses. I think you just said 2,500 kids at that school, plus the staff, plus the buildings. Plus, they make their own beds because it's dormitory schools. I mean, they weld their own beds. They make their own food. They run a garden. I mean, we think our lives are busy running our companies. I can't imagine doing what you do every day with the limited resources that you do it with. It's amazing.
And not big donations coming up. It's been one person giving the little they can, whatever they feel at heart to give out. That's how we've come to the city you have seen. It's been years of people choosing to give individually every dollar. We have a saying here very clearly: every dollar matters, if that's what you've chosen to give for that child.
What were some of the biggest, I can't even imagine asking you this question, to be honest, because like my biggest challenges and your biggest challenges are literally worlds apart. But what were some of the biggest challenges when you decided you were going to do the school, when you said, we're going to help kids through education, we're going to promote the communities? What was some of the biggest challenges you faced?
one of the challenges we had was we had the land initially, but didn't have the buildings. And you cannot just bring the kids to study in the bush. So while you're asking people for $35, you can sponsor a child. It was a huge step now to jump from $35 to asking someone to give you 20,000 US dollars to be able to do a classroom. And I can tell you, it was hard. We feared, but then we chose to say yes. You can buy a brick, you can buy a window, you can buy a window, a door, a bag of cement, and that's how we slowly have come. Some of the buildings you saw were built by 20 people, 30 people. It just didn't come out in one day. And once we had the buildings start to come up, the next challenge we had that I think is huge is making sure you decide who comes in. Because the point is, if you allow everyone come in like we had, suddenly everyone realized that in our schools, we had good teachers, we were serving meals, good meals every day. And remember, for most of these kids, it is a miracle having one meal a day. So for some, even coming to school where they would just have a meal was a miracle. And everyone wanted to come in, and you have to go to choose. Imagine choosing between two young girls and deciding one of them comes in and another doesn't come in. And then you have a parent, a guardian from the other side that tells both kids, go, go, go. So you are saying, we are not allowing both of you. And the kids have a force behind that says, you need to go. And it's been years of trying to explain to people, we can't run down what we have started. And so we just opted to just work with the families. And so interesting how eventually families have to choose. When you ask for one child from them, it's such a huge opportunity, and they've got to decide who goes. And it's a huge decision that they make. So the person they send over knows they are representing the entire family.
That was hard for me to understand at first. So I think it's worth explaining. Generally, as a rule of thumb, it's one child from a family. And because the theory is then they stay connected, they come back and they uplift the whole family and the whole community.
Yes.
Coming from where I come from, that was a hard nut to swallow, for sure. But I understand it. It makes a lot of sense what you guys are doing. And I'll flip to you. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced early on? I mean, you're starting a charity in the United States for schools in Africa.
I think one of the first challenges is ACT is completely run by volunteers. No one's on staff. So it was fitting in all that time of, okay, there's a lot of work to do. We have a lot of documents just to set it up, then to get all these kids sponsored, raise the money, tell the story. But it was important to us that that there's no administrative expenses on the U.S. side, no overhead. We wanted to be a unique nonprofit where every one of your dollars goes directly to where you want it to go, whether it be sponsoring a child, building a classroom, buying a desk, whatever it is.
Buying chickens.
Buying a chicken.
But that's wild because for people who don't know, my undergrad is social work. And I seen a lot of programs in 10, 20, 40, some upwards 80%. Crazy, don't donate to those. Go to overhead, go to admin, go to staffing. You guys have $0 going to any of that, and 100% of it going straight to the programs. That is, I don't think I've ever heard of anybody at $0 like that, ever.
Right. And on the Uganda side, we built early on, we built a bakery because there wasn't a bakery there. And that bakery within a month was profitable. And those profits, I mean, it employs about 35 people. It gives income to all the women who buy wholesale and then take the bread out and sell it in their little shops. It also throws out a profit that covers the salaries of the staff at ACT, as well as paying tuitions for some kids. So that allows us to not have administration expenses on our side, but the donations don't go to administrative expenses on the Uganda side either.
Everything you do is very thoughtful. in the fact that it's, you guys will hear me reference chickens 100 times because it's hot on the brain. Camp Digital is buying some chickens. We're going to donate some chickens. But it wasn't just to donate chickens. It was because the chickens can feed the eggs to the kids and then also help with the bakery. And then we can sell some more eggs and the kids learn how to do chicken. All of those things you have to think through. It's really thoughtful how you guys kind of put the whole program together. How do you guys do? I mean, you're world apart. We're talking to poor Richard. Ann and I, it's 4 o'clock Central Time in Minnesota. I think it's what, Richard, 2 a.m. your time?
No.
How do you guys do all of that?
So one of the things is, even when you set up a bakery, you need to know the things you need to use at the bakery. And I must say, these things are not available in the community. So you want to do something that solves much more than one problem. So when we are thinking about all our programs, we think about how else can this be important. When we are thinking about the bakery, we are thinking about what else does it do. It gives jobs to the young people that are not able to go to school, gives them school skills, gives us the bread that we give to the kids, gives the Hope Again women opportunity to buy the bread, go resell it, and make some profit, maybe a loaf of bread for the day they can use to feed their kids. So you find one investment that we put in place, $1 that we have invested in there, benefiting 5 different categories of people. That's what we go on doing. So even when we are thinking about the chickens, thankful for Camp Digital, we are thinking about the eggs coming in for the bakery to do the queen cakes and any products that we use in the bakery, but also serve an egg, especially the young ones. We have kids that come in and are malnourished and need a bit more protein and more vitamins. So we give those an egg every day, and going out to buy those is expensive. So we want to do a chicken project that gives us eggs for the kids, eggs for the bakery, but at the same time get to use our milling operation to provide feeds for the chicken project. So the 3 end up, the bakery, the chicken project, and the milling project end up supporting each other, and between those we can support about 10 groups.
I love that. I wrote down SMTOP, solve more than one problem.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. And let me kind of ask you, what are some of the biggest challenges you guys are facing now? I mean, it's a different world. Recently, there's been a lot of cuts to funding. Not a political statement, just what's happening in the world. What are some of the biggest challenges you're facing from your side?
I think that there continues to be a lot of need, and it's changing. The needs are always changing, and Richard is gifted at trying to look at those and figure out, how do we best respond? Because I think I have marvelous ideas from American standpoint, right? I've got the answer from the U.S. And culturally, there's huge differences. So it takes us a lot of time sometimes to kind of understand each other, even though we've known each other for 20 years, and to understand the needs in Uganda are different than the needs are here. So I would say our biggest challenge now is to continue to tell the story at a time when it is difficult in the United States. People often do not want to listen and are more looking inward and isolationist than they are, wanting to help in Uganda. And I get the question often of, why do I care about the children in Uganda when there's poverty and there's hungry children here? And so our biggest challenge is to get the story out. And so we're really grateful for opportunities like this to tell the story of a place that's far away, but still connected to us. We're all still part of one community.
That's a great segue. Maybe, and I should have led with this, but maybe you guys could just tell us, what is the mission of ACT, African Children Today? What's the mission?
Our mission is to serve the women and children in Rakai, Uganda, which is the birthplace of AIDS. Families that have been ravaged by the impact of HIV/AIDS since 1982. So everything we do is focused on building up the community there and empowering them to care for themselves, care for their children, be self-sustaining.
I think what I can just add in, for every child that comes into ACT Junior School or ACT High School, for every child that comes into ACT Junior School and ACT High School, we want to give them the best ever education they can have. And then we also want to add in values of humanity. We have discovered in this country too, there are people that have gone to school that are engineers, there are politicians that have been able to send their kids to the US. And one thing we discovered is education without character is not education. You just become someone that's educated but not impactful. You enjoy your life alone. So one of the goals of the two schools that we have is by the time a child comes through, they have this highest knowledge they can have, or they can have the background to go and learn a trade like electrical engineering, or just learning how to do plumbing. But on top of that, they should have the values that make them be able to support themselves, but be mindful that they need to support another person. And we keep telling our kids, this education we are giving you, this time we are investing in you, is not just for you, but it's for you and the other people around you today and tomorrow.
That is not just lip service. I was really impressed when I saw that, because the way you instilled that, it was part of every conversation. The teachers were empowered to say it. You know, we at camp, and a lot of the people listening to this, we all have our core values as our business, and we talk about our core values all the time. You guys are putting core values back into education, and that was unbelievable. And it was great to see it in the accountability down to the smallest kids. It was amazing. On that note, you know, we work with a lot of people in the trades: HVAC, electrical, plumbing, garage doors, roofing, welding, some of the things you were talking about. Why should they care? I don't know who, Ann or Richard, if you want, but why should somebody in Roanoke, Virginia, who runs a $10 million plumbing shop, care about what's happening in Rakai, Uganda, and these kids?
I think that we are all connected globally, growing increasingly so, and that the people that were in the trades here in the United States understand the values that we were just talking about of hard work and commitment and dedication, and that they understand that they can build a great life for themselves and their families through their trade, through their business. And we're hoping that they'll also want to share that with the children in Rakai, because the same thing applies there. The kids that we have in school, they can learn those trades, and it will change their entire future. Instead of living in poverty and trying to figure out where they can find something to eat, they can have a good, solid job, start a business. It's the same, different, gradients, but basing your life on learning a skill, working hard, improving your future. And so if we here in the United States can make a small contribution to allow them to learn that trade, they will do the exact same thing there.
I'll double down on that, Ann, and tell you from my experience why I cared. One, I think being in the trades, one thing I can tell you about everybody I have met, every business owner in this space, they didn't just build their business for themselves. They built their business because they cared about their community. And when I think about African children today and Richard's mission with these kids, it is literally the same thing. He wants to build these kids to care about their families and their communities and their local areas and build it up, not just for their own benefit, even though there is a lot of personal benefit, but for the benefit of those around them, which to me is what embodies the trades. And the second piece is, and I don't know if you picked this up earlier or if this will be in this clip or not, but the second part is the little amount that can make such a huge impact. $35 a month. I don't want to sound like one of those late night TV shows. $20,000 builds a classroom. $20,000 here wouldn't buy you a fleet vehicle. $35 sponsors a kid for a month. $35 here doesn't buy pizza for your call center. I mean, so it's amazing how parallel it is to the values that most of the people in the trades I surround myself with believe in, and how impactful we can be with such a little bit. That's one of the reasons I love African, and all the things you've mentioned. No overhead.
I could add in a bit, just adding on what she said, is when we walk in, I must say, Katie, is when we walk into the community or someone sends the kids to us, and after having the struggle of choosing who the family has chosen, at that level, you don't know who the child is eventually going to become. And you just keep watching and believing and encouraging. And I must say, some of these kids end up and not able to go to the universities, and they're ending up picking up to go into trades. At the moment, we have construction, we have welding, we have some of the kids that are studying how to wire electricity in the houses. We have children that are doing plumbing, and we have had mechanics, kids learning how to repair cars. Ask me, do we have so many cars? No, but there are kids that are interested in these trades, and hopefully tomorrow, by the time they graduate, they have that the cars. So when you ask me, why should the people listening to us care about the kids back here in Uganda? One of the things is, for many of these kids, they need someone to think about them, support them with $35 to be able to go to school every day and stay in. Others, if they don't have that, they're not going to be at school, and therefore they might not go into that trade they want to have. When I was growing up, I wanted first to be a tractor driver because I saw a tractor that came around digging. So I think that, yes, the needs are everywhere. Needs are everywhere in the US and many countries probably nearer to the US. But as a person that is speaking for the kids down here in Uganda, I'll tell someone, yes, your investment of $35 would help a child go to school, or investment of a one-time donation of a classroom. It has a huge impact. You have that classroom having 4 classes, and each of our classes about 40 kids. So that means your investment of $20,000 gives opportunity to 120 children studying at school at the same time. And this building is not going to be there for 1 year, 2 years. So you talked about a car in the US, maybe 5 years, it's no longer a car. The building of 25,000 US is going to take 20 years, 50 years, going 120 children every day, every year. And so such is the impact. And yeah, it is impactful. And we do everything well calculated to make sure, like Anne mentioned, every donation is used for what it was donated for. Even when we have needs in other areas, we don't switch. When you say you want to do a classroom and that's where your interest is, that's where the passion is, that's why you feel connected, we allow you go by that. If you want to donate towards a clinic because you work in medical equipment, perfect, we allow you go that. If you want to donate towards a welding workshop, we say, fine, let's buy another welding machine and have other kids learn. So they should care. Whatever they're able to share or give to the kids of Uganda will be multiplied between so many people for so many years.
Love it. I think important distinction is in Uganda, every child does not go to elementary school. And then in there, only 1 out of 10 that start primary school actually finish primary school. So somewhere in the middle, they drop out. They have to go home and help in the garden, in the fields. But of our kids at ACT, all of them finish primary school, and all of them pass their national examination required to go on to high school. But also important to know is that less than 5% of students go to university. It's rare for someone, particularly from a rural area like Rakai, to go to university. So the trades is really the answer to the past poverty and the difficulties that have occurred in that whole community.
Yeah, and we throw around the term poverty, but poverty in the United States is nothing like the poverty that we saw there. It's wild. I'm going to turn this a little bit so we don't get too down the path here. And this meant to be kind of fun, lightning, kind of quick way. We'll start with you, Ann, then go to you, Richard. Couple quick questions for you. What's your favorite way to start your day, Ann?
Coffee. Immediately.
Yeah.
Necessary.
You'd be surprised how many people answered that. How about you, Richard? Favorite way to start your day?
Prayer.
Praying. We get that one a lot too. Actually, like I said, there's so much similarities between the trades. Me, myself, I love starting with something I'm thankful for, gratitude.
And if I can
Gratitude.
give you why is, sometimes you don't know how the day will go. It can start very bright, kind of how the sun comes up and you think it's going to be a brighter day and suddenly changes. So in my typical day, you want to pray that everything goes normal. You don't have so many changes. You're happy with this child. And another one shows up and they have nothing. And that breaks your heart. So prayer is that you able to handle whatever comes up.
I love it. And what is your greatest strength as a leader?
I think it is flexibility and keeping lots of different things going. I'm kind of an entrepreneur, but also in a nonprofit junkie sort of way. I like to have a number of different nonprofits working hard, and I like all the different issues that come up every single day. 1 minute it's, a child is sick in Uganda, and next minute I'm working on a problem providing food in North Minneapolis. So I think my biggest strength is that ability to keep a lot of things going at once.
How about you, Richard? What do you think your greatest strength as a leader is?
I don't give up.
That's true. I don't think I've seen either of you even get down.
I don't give up. I keep going. I always believe there will be a solution, even if it's about my own different things, trying out different things, finding out how to write that newsletter, drawing that. I don't give up as a person.
What's one piece of advice, Ann, you would give to someone looking to start something, whether it's the business, a charity, just looking to start something?
I would say take chances.
Oh.
Lots of people told me when I started ACT, you can't do that. You can't just start a nonprofit and sponsor kids. And it was a chance to step out and take that risk. But without taking risks, you're never going to know the positive results that can happen.
Richard, what about you? One piece of advice you'd give a new entrepreneur or someone looking to start something like African Children's Day, or I don't know, even build a city in the middle of the bush like you have. What would you suggest? Tell them what's some advice.
I think I would say so many things because life has taught me so many things over the years, but I would say one, because you asked me to say one, is it's not about you. Lady and gentleman, it's not about you. Because when it's about you, you will give up when you miss a challenge. When you see another opportunity, you call in someone. You will just think about something else to do. But once it is about the people that you want to serve, you will look into their eyes and their need will become an encouragement for you to continue. And that's how we have grown the way we have grown up to where we are today.
I love that. That's great. This, I don't even know if I should ask you this question, Ann, but it's on the list of questions, so I'll ask because I don't feel like it's even fair. But if you weren't doing what you're doing now, which is 19 things, what would you be doing?
I think if I wasn't working to care for children who are hungry, I think I would be involved in the environment side somehow. I would be trying to protect our world and our environment for the future generations.
I love that. Richard, I'll ask you the same question, and I hope it's not saying truck driver, because I heard you say that earlier. But if you weren't running African Children Today and building schools and feeding kids at 5 schools all around the school that you have as well, what would you be doing today?
I would be a teacher. Through the support I got from Compassion and other people, I didn't tell the whole story, but along the way, Compassion left, and I got help from different people. And this is why I believe in different people helping. And that's why my passion, and I have a great heart helping other people, because to finish my education, there were so many pieces coming from different people. So I imagine If I was not doing African children today, I would just be a teacher somewhere teaching geography and history.
I love it. Favorite way to unwind after a long day, Anne? What's your favorite way?
Going for long walks with my dog, just getting out into nature and just trying not to think about anything. Just to, clear your head so you can start over.
Richard, what's your favorite way to unwind after a long day?
I don't know whether playing football or chasing the ball, but one of them. I love going to the pitch and playing football. At my age, they keep saying, oh, you don't have to go in, it's risky. But I love running around the ball. It helps me sweat off the stress of the day.
All right.
And
not American football.
And that's, Katie, soccer.
Soccer, yep. Not American football.
Soccer.
Which is great because this will be coming out right when U.S. football is coming out. So, who knows? Last question. It's not even a fair one. If you had to pick one word to describe your journey so far, what's the word you'd pick?
I would pick blessed. I have had the opportunity over the years to talk with so many people from all walks of life and to around the world. I've been fortunate to travel around the world to see them, to tell their stories, and to come back here to the United States and share that, because I truly do believe that we're all connected and that we need to support each other.
Richard, how about you? What's your one word to describe your journey so far?
Unbelievable.
Oh, I love that.
Because being how I grew up, and sometimes when you're in the community of Rakai and you watch people coming in and everyone thinking what you're doing is great, you just sit back. And many times I walk in different directions, sometimes break down just at the knowledge and thought of how much we've been able to achieve with our little small steps. One person at a time, one child at a time, one store at a time, one friend at a time, $1, $2, $3, 15, 20, and everything has been unbelievable.
Well, you two are too kind. I really appreciate your time. I will put in the shameless plug, always looking for donations, whether it's reoccurring or one time. You can leave a donation by going to africanchildrentoday.org, or we'll put a link on Camp Digital's website. So if you are listening to this and you know Camp Digital, CAMP Digital, campdigital.com. We'll put a link out there. Otherwise, like I said, if you can't and don't feel compelled to donate, follow the Facebook page, like some of the stuff they're doing. Every little bit helps. So, Anne, thank you so very much. Richard, you continue to amaze me, impress me, and inspire me every day. So thank you very, very much. And with that, I appreciate your guys' time.
Thanks for everything you do, Katie.
Thank you. Greetings from Uganda.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to connect with me personally, you can find me at chadmpeterman.com. To see what our team's up to, you can visit petermanbros.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel and consider joining the CSTG Arena. As always, keep growing out there.